Then there are the probable no-go foods, the yield signs. So I want you to take caution when it comes to these foods. The first one is good old gluten. It's the specific type of gluten found in wheat that has really given gluten its bad rep. Gluten has the potential to trigger inflammation in the gut, definitely in those with celiac disease. Celiac disease is an autoimmune condition that affects the small intestine and its ability to absorb nutrients. People with the condition must not consume gluten because it's going to trigger a severe immune response in them. But it is possible to not feel great after gluten even if you don't have celiac disease. And I've seen happier guts when wheat-based foods are kept relatively low in the diet, especially if you've noted an obvious correlation after eating the all-time faves like bread, pasta, pizza. If you do not have a medical reason to completely avoid gluten, like in the case of celiac disease, yet you don't feel great after eating gluten foods, here are some tips that you can use to lower your gluten exposure. So number one, choose wheat-free grains like brown rice, quinoa, or buckwheat. Oats are actually naturally gluten-free. Number two, you could swap out wheat-based breads to rye products. Rye is lower in the most inflammatory type of gluten known as gliadin. Rye sourdough is even better because the bloating culprits called fructans are even less in the sourdough varieties. Number three, please don't make the mistake of replacing these foods with gluten-free products thinking they are healthier. A lot of these gluten-free products are highly processed, and this will actually do more harm for you. Remember to always stick to whole foods or foods in their most natural form. Okay, on to the next one, the dairy debate. Dairy encompasses such a big food group, from yogurts to milk to various cheeses, which is why studies often reveal such conflicting results about its health benefits. People with gut issues often pinpoint bloating or gassy symptoms to dairy consumption. And why is this? Well, one of the possible reasons could be because about 70% of the global population have some degree of lactose intolerance after the age of 3. This does differ between ethnic groups and regions, of course. So lactose is a type of sugar found in dairy, and lactose intolerance refers to having a lack of that Pac-Man or enzymes to break down the sugar effectively. But it's not all doom and gloom. Most fermented dairy products like yogurts, kefir, or aged cheeses are often tolerated in these individuals. This is because the fermentation process can lower the lactose content. There's talk that dairy's protein components can be problematic in the case of a leaky gut. So remember, lactose is its sugar content, and now we're talking about dairy's protein content. It's hypothesized that dairy's proteins can move through the leaky gut wall and aggravate an immune system and cause further damage to gut lining in some people. Interestingly, casein, a type of protein in dairy, has a similar molecular structure to gluten, and science estimates that about 80% of people who have a gluten sensitivity could also be reacting to dairy too, but we need more compelling evidence here. In practice, we try to only remove dairy temporarily for those with very leaky guts, but definitely aim to include very healthy specific types of dairy. Choose fermented forms first, especially foods like yogurt or kefir. Select organic pasture-raised dairy that's from grass-fed cows if possible. If yogurt or fermented cheeses still aren't sitting well with you or aren't well tolerated, then we can opt for lactose-free options. You can find lactose-free yogurts or harder aged cheeses like Parmesan or unprocessed cheddar. Then there's talk that goat's or sheep's cheese may be better, but we need more research to confirm this. From my experience, an unhappy gut tends to tolerate small amounts of goat's or sheep's cheeses and a couple dollops of yogurt, standard or lactose-free.